and welcome to the entertainment feature. And we have Kirk Samuels back in studio.
The crowd goes crazy.
Good to see you, Kirk. You've been a busy guy. Oh my gosh, doing all these things, including the reason you're on the entertainment feature right now is to talk about 7 secrets of modern dating.
I am entertainment. Wow. I'm entertaining.
Yeah, today it's entertaining, I guess.
Can you remind Jamie that I'm very entertaining?
Yeah,
Can you
right.
Remind him that. He tends to forget that sometimes.
Yeah, well, you're a good part of our Corner Cafe team.
Awesome.
And we love having you back here regularly. You're doing your thing. You're an author, but now you're co-writing, and you did this dating book.
Yeah, I published my first book, I think it was like 4 years ago, I think it was. And I'm kind of due for another one. And so this has kind of been brewing in my heart and my spirit for months at this point. And I just thought, in terms of what I would do next, I really, part of my personal mission statement is to co-create a world of intimacy and unconditional connection. And so part of that is like, man, how can we do relationships better?
Right.
And that's kind of the premise behind this book.
Okay, so, it's the 7 secrets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we get maybe one secret from the book?
I can give you as many secrets as you want.
Okay. Give us a couple.
And so the 7 secrets are, essentially, first and foremost, you work on yourself first. That's the main thing.
Yeah, you want to be worth dating.
Right. To yourself and to somebody else, right? So you work on yourself. Then 2 is you get in the dating pool. 3 is you get out of the dating pool, meaning when you meet somebody, you stop dating other people. And then 4, you get exclusive with that person. 5 is committed, not committed to a mental institution or anything like that, but committed in relationship. And there's a difference between being exclusive and committed, right, which I explain. And then there's what I call discovery. And again, the whole idea, the concept is getting from being single to, I say spouse, but whatever your in-game relationship goals are, whatever your person is, that last one. And so 6 is discovery, which is kind of a legal term for putting everything out on the table so there's no secrets. So everything, nobody's surprised at any point down the road.
Right. You don't want to get married and then be like, oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 7 is going all in. 7
right.
is, they say marriage is 50-50, but in actuality, a marriage headed for divorce is 50-50. A marriage should be 100-100. It should be all in. And so those are the 7 secrets. And I kind of, set the structure, and then I have 3 other collaborators that people that are in that space from different perspectives, and they all kind of provide their feedback and their opinions on each one of those as well.
Yeah, and it's not a Christian book, but I'm thankful that you have your Christian perspective within the book. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. I don't, I make it, I don't make it a secret at all where I stand, what my background is, but but I didn't write it from a perspective of I'll say just even preaching or just really even getting into specifically, how Christians should. This is from my perspective, successes and also failures, just in a relationship aspect. The divorce rate kind of in the church mirrors the divorce rate outside the church. And so, dating and relationships and those sorts of things are somewhat universal wherever you are in life and whatever your faith background is. So I didn't target it specifically for a Christian audience, but at the same time, I firmly believe that if I would have had this book 10, 15, 20 years ago, my life, it could have been a game changer.
Wow.
And I firmly believe that you should not begin dating and you should definitely not get married without reading this book.
Wow. Well, I'm going to have to get this book then. I have a lot of questions, of course, and we'll continue this conversation, of course, in upcoming shows because it's hard to cover in just 15 minutes. But I hear it's really good. And you said, okay, so first you got to wait until, first you're dating a lot of people, right? So don't rush into getting exclusive just with one person real quick until you really realize together that you guys want to be exclusive. So I've heard something called, have you heard circular dating? I heard that's healthy to do.
I have not heard that.
Okay, so circular dating is for ladies having advice. And they don't mean, of course, in the Christian perspective, you wait for marriage and all that for intimacy. So it's just more like getting, having a lot of friendships, I guess, with a lot of guys, and in my case, guys, since I'm a woman, and getting to know them on a friendship level. And then from there, then if one of the fellas, and of course you reciprocate that, wants to be more exclusive, then you wait for the guy to communicate that. Would you recommend that? Or are they saying in the book, for example, women as well can initiate that?
I think, and again, some of it is, most of it is experiential, not only from my perspective, but everyone else's as well. And some of it is opinion, somewhat subjective.
Right.
And so my personal opinion is that the masculine should always pursue the feminine.
I agree. 100%.
That being said, I firmly believe that it is the feminine's absolute responsibility to reciprocate that pursuit. And I say, there's a difference between pursuing and chasing. And when you find yourself pursuing, you hear an echo. When you hear an echo, it's something that's kind of facing back at you, and you get it back. When you're pursuing, you see their back. And so, you know that when you're chasing, you see their back. So, you're pursuing in a healthy way. And I think that should be forever, even after you've been married for 50 years.
Right.
I don't think that should ever stop. But I think, I think from a guy's perspective, and again, I say I firmly believe that the masculine should always pursue the feminine. But at the same time, guys, we got to be healthy with that. Like, if she's not reciprocating, then kindly, politely, and respectfully disengage.
Right.
And don't be afraid to move on, because as guys, we got to know our value. And which goes back to investing in yourself. And if she doesn't see your value, then she's not your one.
Right.
You don't want to have to convince somebody of your value, and your benefit to them. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that on both sides. But again, I think as much as I think it's the masculine's responsibility, job, whatever you want to call it, to pursue, I equally and wholeheartedly think that if she has any sort of interest, she needs to make that abundantly clear, or else he should disengage and move on. Right.
Yeah. And what are some advice to ladies then to how to make that abundantly clear, but not in a pursuing nature, still letting the masculine pursue the feminine?
So you're talking about guys, so you got to make it clear. You're talking about guys, so you got to make it, that's why I say abundantly clear. Not just, he should know because of the way I flip my hair or because of the way I get giggly around him. No, we don't pick up on those kind of body language clues in most cases. So quite honestly, it's making it like obviously clear with communication. Like, letting him know that
being direct,
that you're
basically
being direct. And if you are direct and let him know and he stops, then that is an indicator to her that maybe he's not in this for the long term. Maybe he's in this for kind of a short-term trophy. If he sees you as a trophy, then he's probably going to not be as interested when the trophy is mounted in some kind of a way.
Right. Gosh, so much to learn here. What do you think right now in this culture, and I'll just say the Christian culture, since we're a Christian show, is the thing, or a couple of things are just we're kind of clueless in, that maybe we need some help in the single Christian person, no matter what age, or as a culture, maybe in this area that you wish that you could mainly teach people?
Yeah, I mean, and I would say, again, first and foremost, working on yourself. I think, if you look in the mirror, I mean, that is, you're the common denominator in every failed relationship you've ever had. Right. And so, if nothing else, if your common experience is somebody, cheating on you or somebody abusing you or something like that, if you keep ending up in dysfunctional relationships, then that might be an indicator. So I think it starts with the mirror. I think most of our problems begin in the mirror, and most of our relational answers begin in the mirror. And so I would say start working on that, loving yourself. It can be kind of taboo to give someone permission to love yourself. I mean, that's, loving yourself is not narcissism. Love of self is narcissism.
Right.
But loving yourself, I think, is absolutely healthy. I mean, if God loves me, then why shouldn't I love myself?
Right.
I mean, if Jesus was willing to die on the cross for me, and if I was that important and that valuable, then maybe I should see myself, at least to some degree, that, man, if nothing else, I'm worth the life of the creator of the universe.
Right.
And so getting to the point where, again, some of that work may be physical, some of that work may be emotional, some of that work may be mental, some of that work may be in a counselor's office. I don't know. But getting to the point where we're healthy, we're entering into the dating field healthy as opposed to dysfunctional. If we enter as a fraction, we'll find another fractional person.
Right.
And when you multiply fractions, you get a fraction.
Oh, well, I say I love your little terms. You always come with these creative. I mean, you need to make these T-shirts.
Right.
Wow. So once again, the book, and how can our listeners get a hold of the book?
Amazon, absolutely. 7 Secrets of Modern Dating. It's the he said, she said guide to getting from single to spouse. And, that's a great place to start. If anybody wants to go so far as to say, hey, Kirk, mail me a autographed copy, you can reach out to me and we'll figure that out and I'll make that happen. But, or if I know you personally, just say, yo, meet me at Starbucks and make this happen. But anyhow.
As long as they buy you a Starbucks.
Buy the book and buy me some Starbucks and you'll get it. But yeah, on Amazon is a great place to go for that.
Yeah, that's great. And do you foresee, Kirk, having a second or a sequel to this, or something? What are you going to work on after this? Yeah,
so I created the website 7secretsofdating.com. 7secretsofdating.com. I said that right. Yeah. And I decided, that's going to be kind of my house for all of this. For this book, the link to it, video interviews that I've been doing, pretty much like, podcast streams, all those kind of things, kind of the home for all of that. And then, I have kind of visions for the future of, things I would like to do branching off of it, whether it's another book or whether it's some online courses or anything like that. I have a lot of visions and a lot of dreams, a lot of ideas that, that I plan on kind of launching as a springboard off of this. And it'll all be there, either my website or there.
Exciting. Okay,
or you can tune into Corner Cafe Radio and find me pretty easily there as well.
Yeah. I want to know, Kirk, what is one of the biggest mistakes men make in dating?
Ooh, wow. I think men make mistakes in falling for the frosting and not the cake. I think we are very tempted by everything on the outside and what we see on the surface, not realizing that if she's all frosting and no cake, then she's going to leave us with a cavity and an upset stomach.
That's hilarious. And then what about for women? What's the biggest mistake?
Ooh, I think the biggest mistake for women is probably not healing past wounds and seeing future men through the filter of the past men in their lives. When I was single and dating, I kind of had because I'm pretty open with my story, because of my first book, because I speak and all that kind of stuff, it's not easy or it's not difficult to find me on, just with a Google search. And so, I would be stuck in the middle of people who would find my story and find my book and find everything that I struggled with in the past and be like, ew, I don't want any part of that. Or finding all of that and thinking that somehow I was, some kind of way out there, not real, practical, not somebody that, that is relatable and that sort of thing as well. So, but in both of those cases, the thing that I found consistently is that I was being compared to somebody else in their past. And it's like, I'm not even the same person I was, X number of years ago. I'm definitely not somebody that was in your past X number of years ago. Right.
Yeah, and and it kind of goes, it can switch back and forth to the male and the female, your advice of the worst thing that we both do, right? So 2 things, takeaways. One is making sure you're healed, and definitely don't compare your future dating relationship to your past relationships. And then also try to dig below the surface as well for the guys out there and for the ladies to not get into and captured with the physical looks and all the other stuff, or maybe the job they have or the status they have, and
absolutely
really try to get to know the person.
Since the pandemic, we've been primarily living in a two-dimensional world. Talk about Zoom, you talk about, WebExes, you talk about, just, watching streaming video, YouTube, whatever. We've been stuck in a two-dimensional world. We've been literally distanced, socially distanced. One of the things that we're missing that we get in a two-dimensional world, a shortage of that third dimension, and that third dimension that we're missing is depth. Right. And, in our screens, we have a height and a width, but we don't have any depth. And in our lives, quite often, we have a height, we have a width, but we don't have a whole lot of depth. And I think in our relationships, we should seek depth more than we seek the measurables of the height and the width.
Right. And one of my things I'm learning too is from past relationships, it's like, let's get past the texting, people. Can we call?
Yeah.
We're so used to texting all the time. It's like, I think we need to get back into, okay, let's call more and talk on the phone. Let's meet in person together. Texting is so convenient.
And develop actual chemistry and develop actual relationships.
Right.
I think something that men don't get is, especially early in the dating process, the more you text, the less attractive she sees you.
Wow.
To a guy, if we're texting all day, we're developing a relationship. Not so much to her. Like, most of the time, women develop relationship like in person and with depth and with, words and eye contact and all those kinds of things. But, and so I think being able to develop all of that from a phone. Remember back in the day when we used to be on the phone all night and, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, okay, let's hang up at the same time. 1, 2. You still there, ain't you? We all, that's when oxytocin flows, the bonding chemical, the bonding agent of who we are chemically.
Right.
When you do that, when you text, it's dopamine, it's not oxytocin.
Okay, we're going to have to talk about that next time. I'm curious about that. I've never heard that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Kirk Samuels, Corner Cafe personality.